They came here in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, realized these sons of bitches are not getting any smarter, and they went the fuck home, seeing us as no threat.
I would. There's a million of them wanting to run up a damn military base.
I think we got some of them in Congress.
Honestly,
myself.
I wish they would surround the base, and then we could just pick them up and take them to some other country, because that's the 1.4 that we need to get the fuck out of the country. Well, I don't care anything about the Hispanic folk and the illegal aliens. Get them 1.5 dumbasses up there in Area 51. Scoop them some bitches up and take them somewhere.
He's spitting on his mic.
Son of a bitch.
He is worked up.
I hate stupid people.
You're listening to Slightly Uncomfortable. Are you ready?
So, welcome to Slightly Uncomfortable.
Oh, God.
We have a full house, meaning
Both
we
of us.
have Root and I here. And, of course, Luna is here.
Yeah.
Luna, the 100-pound German Shepherd that is bugging the piss out of us. So, if any time you hear me lose my mind about something, it's probably her. Root, tell everybody what we're drinking tonight.
We are drinking the one and only Elmer T. Lee. And for that poor son of a bitch who drove from South Dakota to Paducah, Kentucky, did a stopover last night, wandered into the local liquor store. Somehow, it had to be road rage. That's the only way I can explain this. But he left the liquor store with Elmer T. Lee and a 2-liter of Diet Coke and said he was going to mix that shit together. I about fell out of my chair.
You know, the funny story about that is Elmer T. Lee was asked one time how he liked to drink his bourbon.
Yeah.
And the reporter was just assuming that it was going to be neat or on the rocks. Or he said, I like mine with just a splash of Sprite. And the reporter went, what? He goes, I don't much care for the stuff straight.
Well, then it was fitting.
And he said, you know, don't let anybody tell you how to drink your bourbon. You drink it how it tastes good to you. We just want you to keep drinking it.
And you know what, that's fair.
Yeah.
I had to comment on this dude.
I would have too.
But at the same time, my very next comment, there was about 35 later. It's a pretty active group. But the very next thing was, man, you drink it however it is you want to waste $60, but you know, whatever works for you. But I mean, things like Elmer and Weller, you don't adulterate these bourbons.
You know, if you're going to do that, go get you some Jim Beam 4-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, go get you some Wild Turkey, some JTS Brown,
yeah,
and have at it, because they're going to make a beautiful cocktail.
Sure.
And they're going to taste the same, if not better,
once they're in that cocktail.
because they're stronger and they have more of a full flavor.
Yeah, but don't expect to get the complexities of flavor and the mouthfeel and all that
And
from
the gentleness.
And the gentleness of a quality bourbon.
All right,
when
ladies,
you're mixing a bunch of shit in it.
Let me speak to you just for a moment.
Well, he's speaking to the ladies. Run,
ladies,
run.
Elmer T. Lee is like getting you a seasoned lover. Going to be gentle, going to be easy, going to know exactly what to do, where to touch you in the right places. And you get a hold of some Jim Beam 4-year-old, it's like getting a hold of a 19-year-old boy that's going to hit it and quit it. You're still getting fucked. It's just going to be totally different ends of the spectrum. So, speaking of that.
Oh, my God.
Oh, that was not the best segue I've ever
It's
done.
probably not the best segue.
I've had a better day.
You have.
But we got a show. Root picked out the topic for the show today.
Woohoo!
So if it sucks,
straight off the headline.
If it sucks, it's Root's problem.
Of course it is.
So everybody think with me about these things: E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Aliens, Star Wars, Men in Black, Star Trek, and of course the immortal Spaceballs.
Dear Lord. And what do all these have in common?
Well, you know, I think they probably have in common aliens.
Aliens.
That's what's going to be the topic of the show tonight is aliens.
Not brown-skinned people.
Not immigrants.
Not illegal aliens, not legal aliens.
Right. They may have brown skin.
Well, that's true. We don't know.
Yeah.
Although some would argue very vehemently that they're actually gray.
You know what? I already see now that we have a third chair because now the dog Luna is making as much racket as fucking Lloyd does with a Hershey's Kiss wrapper. So if y'all hear something in the background, just that's just the ambiance that we have down here with a shepherd that's wanting to play.
Yes.
Ruth, tell everybody why you thought up this topic.
There is an atrocity happening on the old Facebook. On the Book of Faces, yes. Somebody started a group where, actually it's an event. It's an event on Facebook where...
I actually found out today it's fake.
Oh, that's tragic.
It's 100% fake.
Well, but the more people that start talking about it, the more idiots are going to show up for it anyway.
And go ahead and talk about it because I've got some facts about that event.
So the name of the event, I believe, is Storm Area 51. They can't stop us all, and it has taken on an entire life of its own. I can absolutely see a bunch of nimwits out there trying to actually do that. And, the whole thing would last for maybe 20 minutes. And then Bert comes out and,
All they'd have to do is shoot one of them with a beanbag, and all the rest of these snowflakes would just flee for the hills.
There are so many signs around that place, all along the entire perimeter, saying use of deadly force is authorized. Well, yeah. People have been shot at already.
It's a fucking military base.
Yeah.
All right, I'm sorry. If you're creating a Facebook event where you're getting 1 million of your closest friends to go, let's go storm a military base, that may be misguided.
But the one part of all this is that I cannot discount is they cannot stop them all. If you get enough people,
one button could stop them all. But, I mean, they're not going to do that. But we both know one button. Yeah. So here's the current facts on this. They can't stop them all. Can't stop us all. 1.5 million on Facebook currently. Tonight I'm looking at it. And sadly, 2 of my friends on Facebook
3
are interested.
3. Well,
you're not on it.
I am.
No. It says you're neither on it or you're interested.
I thought I'd like that.
No, you
well,
didn't.
I need to take care of that.
But I have 2 friends and possibly 4 now that are. But they're up to 1.5 million going and 1.2 million just interested.
They can't stop them all, James. They cannot stop them all.
I just don't, and when Root suggested this topic, I'm like, yeah, we can do a show on that. Let me do some digging. Let me do some research. And that's just what I love to do. And I'll be honest with you. I'm going to go and tell everybody right now. I don't believe in fucking aliens. I don't have any fear of aliens. I don't have any respect for people that believe in aliens. If you've been probed, keep it to your own damn self. That's a Tuesday at James's house. I don't go talking to everybody about it.
I thought that Kong looked brown.
And that's right. It is Wednesday today. So you're safe. You're safe, Root.
Oh, thank God.
Go ahead, Root. Tell us some background about Area 51, as you know it.
As I know it.
Then I've got the fakes over here.
So after, in the run-up to the Manhattan Project, a lot of that desert community out there.
All right. Don't drop terms without telling people what they are. What's the Manhattan Project?
Who doesn't know what the fucking Manhattan Project is?
Luna and I over here are lost. Luna and I are both
Oh, that's right. Lost. You're on that side of the table.
I am.
I'm sorry. The Manhattan Project was the United States federal government's effort to build the first nuclear weapon. And they needed a place to test said weapon, so they gathered up a bunch of this desert space out there, and they originally called it Area A, Area B, C, D, blah, 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 blah. Well, they quickly ran out of letters because it's a big-ass space, and they were carving it up, I think, in 10 square miles. So they ran out of letters.
So it's like 50 miles north of Las Vegas.
Right.
Is where this area that you're discussing is.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. And World War II ends, 2 big booms over in Japan, and then the real race starts of how many of these weapons can we make? How can we stop the Soviet Union? And they're popping off all these test bombs in New Mexico and southern Colorado and wherever the fuck they did all that, northern Nevada. At the same time, they were experimenting with aircraft.
Was this around 1950s?
Yeah, it's about right.
Okay.
And
Dwight Eisenhower was president?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, sir. and he oversaw the very thing that he warned everybody against when he left, which is the military industrial complex, because you cannot build these kinds of programs without an industrial complex surrounding them. But by the time he left office, he saw the threat that it was, and he was right. But they needed a place to test these aircraft, so they found this dry salt lake out there just north of Las Vegas called Groom Lake, and that was a fantastic place for it. So that's where they started testing the U-2 aircraft, and among a wide variety of other things. Some worked, some didn't. But when was it, 52? When Roswell.
The information that I'm seeing, I didn't do a whole lot of research on Roswell, but the information I'm seeing is development in the 50s, according to the CIA, the site was used by the Air Force to test U-2 spy plane during the Cold War. And go ahead about Roswell.
So whenever Roswell happened, I'm not looking it up. You people are perfectly capable of looking it up your own self.
No, they're not. They're probably home and drinking. And
in a basement.
Without doubt, most of our listeners are in basements.
You don't think so? So they're on the street then?
There's 3 of them, but we won't talk about those guys.
I think we picked up one, though.
Lloyd's home, so he's probably in his basement somewhere.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
Well,
he's kind of nocturnal.
What about Alex?
We don't know.
That's true.
We don't know. We don't know.
No. So yeah, an event around Roswell, New Mexico happened. I want to say it was sometime in the early 50s, mid 50s, sometime in there, where something crashed, and the citizenry, and when I say citizenry, I mean the non-military people. So there were local EOs involved, sheriffs, local police, and they actually saw this thing that crashed. But then suddenly the Army descends on it and pushes off all of the local EOs and the citizens. But
1947.
47, so
Yep.
it predates the 50s. So
It
that's fine.
predates Area 51.
Right.
Yep.
No, it predates what we know of Area 51.
Right.
I think it was called Area M at the time.
It said it started in the 50s. The official Area 51.
Right.
So,
That's when they ran out of letters.
Exactly.
And started the numbers.
Exactly.
So, so 47, Roswell happens, and while the military took control of the scene, what they couldn't stop was the local press.
which I can't imagine in Roswell, New Mexico, that there is that big of a press corps.
All it takes is one newspaper.
And I'm going to come back to the whole press thing in a little while.
No, that's probably a whole show, brother.
But wasn't this the first time that we had the vision of the saucer?
Yeah. Well,
where we got the idea
Yeah.
that, and then if I'm not mistaken, there was TV shows and things like that spurned from that, like Lost in Space and all that sort of stuff. I don't know when Star Trek started. I'm not a Trekkie, and for all those
62, I think.
all those Trekkies are out there, I'm not going to even give it a date because I will be wrong by 3 minutes, and you bastards will come out that basement with that damn beanbag strapped to your ass.
And my Spock ears, goddammit.
And telling me that Kirk is better than Picard and all that sort of shit.
Well, that's full of shit.
I know.
I mean,
Picard's
those people are
badass.
crazy.
Although number one I hated him.
Archer's pretty good.
Archer?
Captain Archer. He was prior to the Federation.
Yeah, but I did not like. I like Picard, but I didn't like his number one. Riker.
Oh, what? Yeah,
Riker. He
yeah,
was just
yeah.
a tool. Although Deanna Troi. I bet she can read my mind right now.
Dr. Crutcher. Dr. Crutcher is where it's at.
Well, if I'm in a ship, who am I kidding? Whoopi Goldberg looks good after a while. So go ahead and continue.
So the local newsies out there, they published this article that was sensationalized coast to coast about a flying saucer crashes outside Roswell, and
it's like
I think
Lloyd is here. It is just like fucking Lloyd is here. She is literally holding up a bone over a tile floor and just dropping it.
I'll show him,
and
my
you know
God.
what? And just like Lloyd, she has no damn idea she's making any noise at all. Go ahead. Jesus.
And as soon as we start talking about her, she reached down and got the Kong and looked at both of us.
Yeah. I got their attention. Now let's play calm.
Yeah. So yeah, this news story breaks, and it lit a fire under anyone who thought that maybe, the moon is made of cheese and there are little green men on Mars. And all kinds of shit started after that. What could have been a small little Air Force base in the middle of the desert turned into this land of mystery.
Right.
And
Well,
and the rest is history, really.
I think in a 35,000 feet. Pardon the pun, because we're talking about space.
I see what you did there.
35,000
But
feet.
that's that's not where space is.
It is for me. That's as high as I'm going.
12 feet is space for you.
Oh,
You can't jump to 12 feet.
no,
So-
nor can you.
I don't claim to. I think I heard you claim that.
I don't know
didn't
where we're going anyway.
yeah,
But
go
I
ahead.
think the governments just focus on always being so secretive, and honestly, in times they don't have to be.
Well,
We're not talking about international espionage.
at that time we were.
Yeah, but they were so fucking paranoid back then, that it's just ridiculous that they could have actually said, this is what this is. They could have opened the doors at one time, and that way, if there's no rumors or speculation, there's no story.
I think what made up that crash was titanium, and it was probably some kind of new alloy metal that they didn't want anyone to know was around. So how do you explain that? Because the locals that touched
And
this
what did
stuff,
we do with the alloy metal these many years ago? I mean, really, was it big enough of a deal that in, what, now, 60, 70 years, we're still fucking talking about it? I mean, really,
but we're talking about the mystery that came out of it,
and if you remove
not where the
mystery-
technology
Right,
came
right.
from.
But if you
came
remove the
to.
mystery, then there's no story.
Right, but if it was the old adage, right? Any technology sufficiently advanced is indistinguishable from magic. If that technology was leading edge back then the United States Army, United States government, did not want the Soviets to even know that such a thing may exist. So there's your secrecy.
Well, I understand the need,
and
especially back then, everything was a pissing contest.
Right.
Because we couldn't let the Russians get a leg up on us for anything.
Well, and it's not like we're fighting the Japanese anymore. The Japanese, call it whatever you will, fuckers, but they look different. A Japanese person, by the average American, looks and behaves differently without saying a word.
Right.
They look and behave
you
differently.
can see a difference.
Right. With the average Russian or the average German, you can't.
True.
So they don't know if there's Russians in Roswell.
But what I'm seeing through this whole thing is just the United States' utter inability to be transparent at all about anything.
Yeah.
At all. I mean, I understand they have very important things at task. They're charged with a very important task in keeping us safe. And you're right.
Keeping the country safe.
Right.
Yeah.
By us, I don't mean you and I in a basement, fucker. I mean us as a whole, as a country, and possibly even a world, right? Because I think they're taking.
Because we are the
we
world's
are the world.
policemen.
We are the future.
We are the world.
Oh, now the first time Roots ever tried to sing, and I hope it's the last. But I mean, if they could just have some modicum of disclosure.
Yeah.
And I think where they have lost the trust of the folks over little bitty things. Now, everything that's being said, nobody believes anything. And I think it's the same today. And that really has nothing to do about aliens, but I think their lack of their willingness to just say, all right, this is what this is. We've controlled the photographs and stuff, and granted, that can be a conspiracy too. But it's just like if you're in a relationship, the first time you catch one of them in a lie,
You're done.
you're never going to believe them again.
Right.
Unless they do some serious work to earn your trust back. And the United States government has never done that.
That's true.
Because they don't care.
That's true.
Yeah.
You know what the primary job of government is? Controlling the people. Period.
Yeah.
Not protecting us, not feeding us, not taking care of us. No. It's controlling and defeating the people. Because so long as the people are the slaves of government,
I am a libertarian.
then
Hashtag root.
then so long as the people are the slaves of government, then the government feeds for free.
Well, I mean, we won't get into the government on this podcast any more than we have to, Root. I know you're wearing your fucking George Washington shirt
I am.
on. He's got a whole closet of shirts with men's faces on it, and that concerns me a little bit.
And witty statements. This one says me and my homies would have been stacking bodies by now.
Which George Washington never said.
No, he didn't, but he would have. He would have.
Because you know George so well.
I do. I do. I'm a genealogist. You know I'm a time traveler. You would be much more interesting if you were dead. That's all I'm saying.
Here we go. In 2013.
Yeah, you're skipping ahead a little bit, aren't you, brother?
Honestly, this whole Area 51 thing
Yep.
had kind of grinded to a halt after a while. The whole rumor and speculation.
Well, that's true.
When you're talking about the 50s and 60s and early 70s, crop circles and all of the alien talk was really at its fever pitch.
Yep.
And then I think after the mid-70s, it started kind of tapering down. Yes, there's still that select few zealots out there that are still card-carrying believers in everything that is not of this universe. There is one of the funniest, and I know Root doesn't listen to Saturday Night Live now.
No.
But they have a reoccurring segment where they interview three people.
It's not the Coneheads.
Again, not 1970 anymore. They have three people that have been abducted by aliens. And they're interviewing the people that have been abducted. And the funniest thing is they're interviewing these three, and two of them have like this mystical experience where everything is beautiful and the auras are wonderful. And the third lady, I got a little bit of a different experience on my side. Well, they were finger banging me on a moped on the way to the 5-star. You know, I mean, it was just...
Do not speak ill of the
she was a
5-star.
cook at the 5-star.
No. Now he's just trying to interfere with my dietary needs.
But that's the I think it had kind of fallen down, and then in the 70s, I think some of it sparked back up when you're talking about
80s,
the Star
90s.
Wars. No, the Star Wars.
Well,
I think Star Wars 1978.
Yeah, but you just
There-
said the 70s that died down. So
Well,
the timeline's out of whack.
Star Trek really started in the 60s.
62,
Yeah,
I believe.
and then you've got that leads into Star Wars, and hell, Star Wars is still
78.
going on.
Yeah.
Which it's thank God. Supposedly they're putting out the last movie. They've just filmed the last movie, and it could not have been sooner. I mean, that movie had some validity for the first maybe 3-4 movies.
I've enjoyed them all. I've caught them on Netflix or whatever, and you know it's not something I would go to the theater to see. Of course, it would take a lot to get me to a theater anymore. But
I saw Avengers Endgame this past weekend.
Yeah. You mentioned that.
I don't want to give out any spoilers, so we won't talk about it right now.
Yeah.
But I will tell you that I was utterly disappointed.
You know that could be a show that we do though. Your favorite comic book superhero.
Yeah, but see, I've never read comic books. It would have to be.
Now, hell, you've seen them all now though.
Well, but
in the movies.
I don't think they're necessarily true to the comic book.
Well,
I mean, what
reasonable.
they've done with Spider-Man has nothing to do with the
Well,
comic
that's
books.
true.
I
That's
mean,
true.
he is still Spider-Boy. He has been Spider-Boy for 60 years, it seems like.
Right.
That some bitch ain't grown up yet. He's still in high school. He is not bright. No. Because I am not bright. I made it out of high school in 4 years.
Well, in Franklin County.
Well, that's true. But anyway, you kind of saw a peak and valley,
Right.
peak and valley. But I still think that even when people were talking about it, the validity that they felt as though that they had was waning.
Yeah.
It became more of a fable than it was anything else.
And the true believers were mocked as wackadoodles. And then long about the 80s come around, and wasn't that
was E.T.
Well, it starts with E.T. So we just came out of a very small break because James decides out of the fucking blue it is selfie time. So he takes himself a selfie,
I'm
and
wearing-
now we're back. Now I can't remember what the fuck I was talking about because I'm laughing
a
so damn
Milwaukee's
hard.
Buck T-shirt that I bought for $5 tonight.
Circa 1970.
Love it, man. That was when Lou Alcindor was playing with it.
Who?
Lou Alcindor, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Who?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go get in a fucking race car and drive around the track for 5 hours. I'm really good at turning left.
And right.
Ooh, look, a brick. Nah.
Ayrton Senna.
Put a damn stoplight on there or a merge lane. maybe a fucking rainstorm like I drove through earlier this evening. Then it's a storm.
Oh,
right, so-
he got his little car wet.
All right, so
that's
we,
a shame.
We were talking about E.T. and about really how cinema, I think in my mind, cinema and television has really kept the thought of aliens alive, even if it's tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, wasn't the movie Sigourney Weaver's Aliens?
Yes, that was the number one ranked alien movie of all time.
But
which
when?
was called Aliens. I
It
think
was 80s.
It was 80s, yeah.
So you got E.T., and then you've got this franchise.
And E.T. is that little soft...
That's a kid's movie.
Well, it is, but that was, I think, what a lot of people had envisioned from Roswell was these, bubble-shaped heads and, very gentle and really not a lot of expression.
Yeah.
And I think E.T. gave it a little bit more of a cuteness and a voice that otherwise it hadn't already had.
Right.
And then we saw a lot of shows that we mentioned earlier, like Lost in Space and those syndicated shows. My favorite, Martian. Right?
Yeah.
And that all kind of stemmed from the 50s and 60s.
And Mork and Mindy even.
Yeah. I love me some Pab Dauber.
Oh. She was a cutie.
On a whole different level, Jonathan Winters was on that show.
We've talked about anytime you get Robin Williams and Jonathan Winters together on the same stage, that's going to be comedy gold.
Well, and anytime that you see Robin Williams look at somebody in
such awe,
total admiration,
right?
But I think you kind of saw it. When you saw Happy Days actually starred in Mork and Mindy. Mm-hmm. Of course, Happy Days was set in the 50s, and then that was a time where aliens was really popular to talk about.
Well, I mean,
because that's when Area 51 started and all that lore.
And it's also in the immediate aftermath of Roswell.
Right.
Roswell didn't die down,
So
especially in the tabloids.
2 decades.
Yeah.
It was filled with a lot of alien talk, and I think it probably ended up going into the 70s and even into the 80s. With
it continues
especially
today.
the crop circles and this one farmer out there saw something. Then you saw Men in Black, and that was really popular, and I really enjoyed that movie. I've enjoyed a lot of these.
I've enjoyed the franchise. I haven't seen the latest one. But
I don't think it's been out yet. Okay. The one with Chris
It's just
Hemsworth.
coming. I guess. I've just heard rumors of it.
Yeah. But so we've got the cinema really fluffing all of this stuff up.
Mm-hmm. Well, we have the cinema fluffing it up because of the undercurrent that is keeping that interest alive.
And people, and if you believe this stuff, I'm not judging you, but I'm kind of judging you. This is some bullshit. I mean, and we'll get into how we feel about it currently later on. If as long as Elmer T. Lee doesn't talk to me too much. We did
No
a show.
hiccups.
We did a show last week, and that's going to be part of our blooper reel.
Yeah.
The show was all over the place anyway, so it's not hard for us to go ahead and junk it. It was on professional wrestling, and we're going to revisit that on our... Woo! Exactly. What's your name again? It doesn't matter what your name is. But right in the middle of it, and we're going to do another show because professional wrestling is near and dear to Lloyd and Root and I's heart.
Yes.
And then Alex, we
don't know.
We don't know what he thinks.
No.
Because he's never here. But I got the hiccups.
Oh, my God.
And it was just ridiculous. So I'm hoping Elmer is more gentle to me than Mr. Brown was last week. So you've got the cinema, then you have this undercurrent of people believing the stuff. But I still think that it was not as readily spoken about. I think the longer you got away from Roswell and the Area 51 big push, I think people got a lot less likely, other than once the internet started, as the internet will give legs to any type of underground movement.
I think it's an interesting thing because, we're at this point we're talking about the early 80s.
Which was a crazy decade anyway.
It was. Lots of new crazy technology.
Parachute pants.
Polaroid pictures was not that far before the 80s.
Kangaroo shoes. Had a little pouch in them.
What?
Kangaroo shoes. There was a brand of shoes called Kangaroos, and they had a little zipper pouch like a kangaroo. You could put your key in it. Maybe some change.
Really?
I loved them. It's a thing.
Okay.
I was wearing my Granimals with my kangaroo
With your
shoes.
kangaroo
No, actually,
shoes.
it was the 80s. I was out of Granimals by then,
Are you sure?
I think.
Right.
But go ahead with your technology, because to me, that's technology.
Well, VHS camcorders.
Yeah.
So people
or VHS players,
well,
VCRs. I mean,
that
beta
probably
players.
came before the recorders, before the handheld
As far as you
cams.
know.
Well, aliens. You know, you don't know.
It's crazy.
So people are recording these strange things they see flying around. Some of them are legitimate recordings of God knows what. And some of them are outright fakes, and it was obvious that they were fakes.
Wasn't that
But
about the time that the Bigfoot was getting spotted too?
Bigfoot comes from the
Loch Ness Monster?
I think that original recording of
70s.
the Bigfoot creatures traipsing across that lake bed out in the west somewhere, I want to say that goes back to
70s.
77, 78.
But
on a
still, we're
Super
talking
8.
about 5 years, give or take.
Right.
Late 70s, early 80s.
So these kinds of motion capture devices are in the hands of the common folk. And
Right.
so, people are capturing these images, whether it is in the American Southwest, where a lot of strange aircraft were being tested,
Right. And a lot
flying around with lights
and
on.
let's be honest, there's a lot of strange people out there.
There is a lot of strange people out there.
I mean, and they're more vocal, a lot of them, than the ones down in eastern Kentucky that we both know.
Or the
Eastern,
fucker
western
sitting in his
Kentucky-
basement.
Yeah, eastern west Kentucky, they're crazy as loons too. But you know what? They stay in their hollers and they shut up.
Well, Western Kentucky's crazier than Eastern Kentucky, mostly because I come from Eastern Kentucky.
Oh, it's cute.
I
All right.
do.
So please continue.
So the thing that was feeding these movies, I think, and this entertainment complex surrounding this alien business, I think, was this growth of captured media and stories coming from the average Joe.
And fragmented media. I mean, it wasn't anything that was clear and
No, of course
obvious.
not. Of
So
course.
it was fragmented video and just a hint of something here. Or only thing that I saw that was really looked like something that was legit was those crop circles, because that was a still image that they could take from an aerial
Right.
camera after something had been reported.
Right, but nobody ever saw them being done
Right.
until they were discovered being done.
Right.
And
Which was a guy in a zero-turn lawnmower.
no. It's a bunch of people with a 2x6 held together on each end by a rope,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they're
yeah.
walking around in a circle.
Damn idiots.
I think those crop circles, though, those were awesome.
Or if you want to do them,
it did a lot of crop damage.
If you want to do them as art, that's fine.
That was cool.
But if you're
Yeah.
doing it as vandalism, that ain't cool. Because
What's
I'm
the
pretty
difference?
certain that person that's got that corn planted was not planning on your
Right.
sorry asses.
But
I'm sorry you didn't have to lose any time from work because you're probably not employed anyway.
speaking as the resident radical here, I'm not sure sometimes that art is different than vandalism.
Oh, Lord Jesus, that's a different podcast.
It is, and I understand there was crop damage in these things in the early going, but I mean,
You do that. You
now
never
it
saw
is
that
its
on
own
the fucking
crop.
tobacco farm.
I have.
But I won't tell you what. I bet that person got shot at.
They
Because
should
you're messing
have.
up somebody's
Yeah.
tobacco.
Well, and these days, or even back in them days, it was real easy to drop a couple of marijuana seeds as you're dropping.
That's not what we're talking about. That's not. We're
But-
talking about aliens.
but-
Now, if you want to see aliens,
No,
smoke some of
come on.
Roots wacky weed.
No.
I've had a couple edibles that made me almost feel like I was eating.
Well, you got to make sure you're not eating mushrooms
Oh.
when you're eating them
I'm
edibles.
not a picky eater.
But anyway,
Look at me.
true enough.
This was not built on a salad. I'm gonna tell you that much.
Neither was this, baby. So, anyway, what I'm getting at is like I said, a lot of those movies and everything are generated because those people know, the producers know that there is an interest out there because of this undercurrent of content generation. That's what we call it today. Back then, it was some poser out for a nature walk, sees something crazy flying up in the air, and he takes a picture of it.
Yeah.
Or a couple of dudes out on the back 40 with a fishing rod, a pie pan, and their video camera.
Yeah, and this is my thing, and we're going to talk about why I think this big push to go and see what's at Area 51 is now vibrant today.
They can't stop us all, James.
That's exactly right.
They cannot stop
But
us
in
all.
2013, the CIA acknowledged the existence of Area 51, releasing its location, like that was
Blah.
a big secret,
Yeah.
and how it had been used to test military aircraft, including the 117A,
Stealth fighter.
A12,
Okay.
and something called Tacit Blue, according to the
Tacet.
business.
It's Tacet Blue.
Whatever.
Tacet Blue.
Okay, Tacit
Yeah,
Blue.
Tacet Blue.
While it's not exactly known what the base is currently being used for, an Air Force spokesperson said that Area 51 is where we train American armed forces and is an open training range for the U.S. Air Force. All right, the U.S. Air Force always stands ready to protect America and its assets. Now I'm gonna
Okay.
go right back to what I talked about when we were discussing Roswell. There is no damn reason for the vagueness.
Yes, there is.
No, you know what? There's not, because we tell everybody what fucking Fort Knox is for. All right, and you know what?
Okay. What is it for?
Money,
Why?
gold.
There is no gold at Fort Knox.
Well, there isn't.
No. They closed the repository.
There is.
Now Fort Knox is a personnel division training area.
Well, what? But I mean, how long did it hold gold? How many times?
Probably 3 or 4 years after Kentucky Congressman Huddleston did the fucking tour and showed everybody that the gold was actually there.
Well-
and they moved it all the fuck out.
Well, what I'm telling you is there was no reason to cover that. Nobody attacked where they knew the gold was. It's a fucking military base.
They could have.
Sure, you can attack England. I mean, you can attack anywhere. But the thing of it is, their secrecy in this promotes people's speculation.
It does.
And the fact that they are so just damn vague.
He is wired up
I'm
about
sorry,
this.
I mean, you're the fucking libertarian. You're the one who hates the government.
No, I hate the government, but I can understand why it's important to keep secrets.
All right, you got the CIA keeping secrets from the FBI, keeping secrets. I'm sorry.
That's internecine warfare. That's a problem.
But if
I do get that.
But if you've got someone giving an interview, and the crux of that interview is, I've got no comment. Just say you've got no comment. Don't make some stupid ass shit up about they're doing Air Force training maneuvers. I mean, if you're going to
that's what they're doing.
If you're going to give details, give details. If not, say, you know what, it's none of your damn business.
But misdirection is an excellent way to keep secrets.
But on the overall alien thing, have you ever noticed that since people have...
I'm beginning to think you believe this more than I do.
No. Have you ever noticed that since people have gotten handheld cameras that's called their phones, that not a damn picture has came out that has went viral of any fucking aliens?
Dude.
Because guess what? The Polaroids are not there
Okay,
anymore.
so
The
whoa,
VHS
whoa. So we're not talking about government secrets anymore.
I'm all over the place.
Now we're
I'm all over the place. I'm mad at everybody. Because honestly, here's
and I'm the
thing.
libertarian.
If the federal government came out and go, you're fucking idiots, there's no aliens. We don't have aliens here. We did not have aliens there. This is what we're doing here in a very, very broad term. But look and say, there's no aliens. All right? Stop.
They've done that.
But not the way I would have.
Of course not. Of course
But again,
not.
since we have had these personal recording devices that
Right.
we use phones, nothing's come out.
Well,
No farmer in fucking New Mexico has been probed since I got an iPhone X.
No. The stories continue.
I haven't even. Well, of course, because there's morons.
Right. And but no video proof. There's the chances of catching or the chances of spoofing a video today with I've got a Samsung S9.
Got it on sale. It's nice. Slightly damaged.
It's a 12 terapixel camera or whatever. Better
I think
than
that's a real measurement.
whatever the
That's
fuck.
not a measurement.
It's damn near better in our own eyes. It's hard to fake what they used to fake with that VHS camcorder.
Again, it's fake. It's bullshit.
So you're right. You don't see that much of this stuff anymore.
Even though we have much more opportunity with the devices that we all carry.
Right. But the argument could be made too that
Aliens have gotten smarter.
no. They came here in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, realized these sons of bitches are not getting any smarter, and they went the fuck home, seeing us as no threat.
I would. There's a million of them wanting to run it up a damn military base.
I think we got some of them in Congress.
Honestly,
Myself.
I wish they would surround the base, and then we could just pick them up and take them to some other country, because that's the 1.4 that we need to get the fuck out of the country.
Well,
I don't care anything about the Hispanic folk and the illegal aliens. Get them 1.5 dumbasses up there in Area 51. Scoop them some bitches up, take them somewhere.
He's spitting on his mic.
Son of a bitch, they're
He
idiots.
is worked up.
I hate stupid people. You know what kills me is we had the Million Man March several years ago.
Yeah, the $1.25 million man.
Right, and then we had the Pussy March, the Pussy Hat March the ladies did on Washington.
God, that was...
And everybody gets their panties in a wad about people organizing and marching. I don't give a shit about either one of those two groups.
First Amendment, by God.
I think they have every right to do it. I think they did it in the right way. There was no brouhaha. But
there was a brouhaha.
We got 1.5 million assholes.
They can't stop us all, James.
Oh, exactly.
They
No,
can't
I could.
stop us all.
Yeah.
1.5 plus 1. I just joined.
Put up a real big net, and when they line up, just scoop them some bitches up with a few Black Hawks and take them over to Cuba or something like that and go, we'll take yours, you take ours. Forget votes.
trade.
We're just going to airdrop these some
Fair
bitches down there. This is the dumbest. All right, well, I was because I honestly had not ever heard of this before Root brought this up.
Area 51, really?
No, I've heard of Area 51. I didn't hear about this march on Area 51.
Oh, okay.
And
All
they
right.
can't stop us all that shit. I had not heard about it because I try not to listen to moron news. You know, I don't know what channel covers this, but if they covered this, I would not listen to it again. This is not news. This is a bunch
It's
of
been a
dipshits.
hoot. It's been a hoot.
Oh, my God.
I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
And, you know,
He took a breath to catch it. So, wait.
I'm getting fired up
He
again.
just reached for his bourbon. We're going to let him take a break, take a quick drink, and y'all catch your breath, because I'm sure you're laughing at him, too. And he's setting the drink down, and here we go.
All right, again.
Here we go. I knew it.
This statement, 1.5 million want to raid Area 51 to see them aliens.
See, dim.
They can't stop us all.
Them.
Yeah, them.
Dim.
They can't even fucking spell.
They can't stop us all, James.
And they've got their own fucking website.
Of course they do. I'm sorry. Of course we do.
Well, I'm sure they needed a webmaster, Root. You know, there's I don't really know, other than just the pure idiocy that's associated with almost all of this stuff. I'm sorry, if somebody is flown up into an alien plane and gets probed and all this sort of stuff, no, why do people think that the aliens want to shove stuff up our ass? I don't get that. That doesn't make any. They're supposed to be a more intellectual
Are they?
race, and well, they figured out a way to get here. We can't do that. We went to the moon once and said, "Fuck it."
We went to the moon about 6 times.
Well, whatever. I only saw that one. And I think that film's fake now.
but he's not a conspiracy guy at all.
But you know what? We just cited how many times the federal government goes, "You don't need to know that. You don't need to know that," and then all of a sudden they're going, "Look at what we've done."
Hey,
right?
I saw a travel voucher though for Buzz Aldrin when he went to the moon. So they're filing travel vouchers. It had to happen.
Well, they have a little bit of a paper trail.
Dude, you've worked in business offices your entire life.
There's
You
no-
really think a federal government business office is going to pay that out?
The flag
which they
never
did.
moved is all I know. The flag never fucking
There
moved.
ain't no wind on the moon.
Why do you know that? I mean, there's just no
Tell
way.
me how there's atmosphere on the moon.
Where is there anywhere that there's no wind? It says, oh, come on. There's no wind on the moon. Really? You're going to believe that shit. Really?
The guy who does not believe aliens
I don't believe
is,
aliens.
is throwing the whole moon thing under the
I
bus.
mean, the moon things, and now after I thought about it, it's bullshit.
Oh my God.
It's bullshit.
What a load of shit.
I'm just saying.
You are a full-on load of
Because
shit.
you know if Americans can go someplace, they're there all the time.
There would be a shopping
There
mall and
would
a
be.
cinema and a
There'd be
McDonald's.
a fucking outlet mall up there. Gatlinburg would have chalets built.
I can't argue that.
So,
There would
that's
be
why I say,
timeshares on the moon.
let's spend all of this damn money, go up there and go, all right, we're good. We'll just stay here now.
That's
that was,
true.
That was in the 60s. Nah, we're fine. We're fine.
That's
Stop. It's 2017. No, we don't need to go back.
you know, I cannot argue with that logic. I cannot argue with that. That's how we got from Virginia to fucking California.
We didn't stop
We
in
just
the
didn't
Mississippi River. Go, no, we're good. We're good. There's something over there. Nah.
We're
we
good.
went over there, and then we came back. We didn't go back. We push every damn limit that we've ever had, every barrier, every border that we've ever had.
So because of this government secrecy, because of the government secrecy that you hate, that I understand a little bit, but I'm frustrated by it too.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
I mean, I understand it too for the things that matter. But I think my opinion of what matters and what the federal government deems things that matter are different.
Oh, yeah, I can guarantee you that.
You know, that's my thing
that.
because I think sometimes they hide shit for the sake of hiding it.
Yeah. Like a moon base?
Exactly. That's why, again, when you have a government that is pushing, look what we can do. Oh, look, Russians, you can see the exact device that we use to get up there. You can see our exact equipment, but you can't look in Roswell because we have a special medal. That doesn't make any logistical sense.
So
I'm going to show you a whole piece of a rocket ship what we took up there, but I'm not going to show you this sliver of metal from Roswell.
So here's something for you. Something for you. Let me spew this out there, and then you
go
chew
ahead
on it
because
for
I
a
need to
minute.
take a deep breath.
Yeah, you go ahead. So the last moon shot was mid 70s, right? No, 72. Let's go with 72.
It never happened.
Let's just say it did.
Okay.
Let's just say it did.
Hypothetically. I just had a donkey fly out my ass too. Hypothetically.
So
and I loved it.
we have rocks from someplace other than this particular rock that we're sitting on. Okay.
And how do we know that? The government told us that.
So, well, that's true. They could have made them. I don't know.
They got the rock from an aquarium in Florida.
If they could have gone there, and we both just agreed, if you're there, why leave?
Or why not go back and back?
Well, we did.
And back.
We did.
And
we
do
did.
more and more and more.
We did.
Where's all those pictures?
Exactly.
Oh.
All
Well,
of
now
them.
all of a sudden they got quiet.
All of the more and more and more. I mean, how many other moon shots have we had, or how many other space shots have we had?
I don't like space.
We've had a lot of
I
fucking
don't believe any of it.
space shots. What if they've already built that moon base, and it all ends in say 72? When did the great partisan fight actually start?
You mean Democrat, Republican?
Right, all that bullshit that's now eating up all of our time. It is about that time. I think that was the McGovern-Nixon race.
Yeah.
And ever since then, we've been more concerned with our internal politics than trying to decide what the fuck's going on,
Well, you know,
either around the world or perhaps on other worlds.
and I think this is a tangent worth going off on.
Of course it is.
When you're talking about
The hook was
the
set
space
right there.
program and the funding that goes toward the space program. And
Is it taking food out of the mouths of babes?
Well, no, I mean, honestly, that's said in jest, but I do believe that's true.
Of course.
Because as long as you have money that can be otherwise allocated, billions upon billions upon billions of dollars.
Probably trillions upon trillions.
Right. Well, billions and billions and billions equal a trillion.
Well, if you do it 10 times.
Yeah, I was going to, but you interrupted me. So I was playing the long game.
I see.
But I don't see any justification whatsoever of funding a space program that has yielded as little as it has. Because of all the trillions of dollars that we've spent on it, what has it yielded? I mean, how does it affect the guy going to work tomorrow? How does it affect the family down the road?
Did you ever drink Tang?
That's a horrible drink. That's a horrible
But
drink.
you drank it.
Well, because I was 7.
Space program for the win, right there.
And I've also ate damn space ice cream.
Right.
All right, trillions of dollars for Tang and space ice cream. No.
And also understanding the forces that are out
I
there.
don't think we understand shit.
I think we understand it a damn shot better because of
That's a big price to pay for understanding something.
every price to pay is a big price when you're understanding something better.
I'm just simply saying that the millions of dollars, trillions, billions, quadrillions of dollars that we spent since the 60s.
How the fuck did I end up supporting the government?
Because you're now on that side.
Oh, okay. All right, I got you.
See, I converted you going the opposite
No,
way.
you hadn't converted me for nothing. I'm just rational, and you're not.
I don't. But I think if you polled, no one has been up in arms since the 80s when we pretty much stopped talking about the space program. Nobody has
That was
had
a space shuttle system, though.
right. But all right, the space shuttle thing is, I get it. It's getting up there and it's orbiting the Earth. But I'm talking about going to another planet, another star, something like that. Nobody is up in arms about that. Nobody is beating their chest on a debate when it comes to who's going to be the president of the United States about we need to reestablish the space program. We need to get back to the moon. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about it anymore.
I know, and that's tragic.
There's a select few people that do because the real world problems are bigger than I wonder if.
Well, the real world problems are made out to be bigger.
Well, but you know what? If people don't have jobs, if kids don't have food, that's a real world problem. That's what I'm talking about. Economy is a real world problem. Feeling safe in your home is a real world problem.
That's a different.
Yeah,
we're
saying,
verging into the political.
Nobody's
world
upset at the lack of space program.
A lot of us are. A lot of us are.
Well, but you're upset. You're angry. You're an angry person.
I am.
Yeah, but I don't see that uproar. I bet you there's not 1.5 million people that want to go back to the moon.
I bet there's 1.5 million people that support SpaceX.
Oh, the Trump thing?
No, that's a Space Force.
All right.
SpaceX is a private venture to reestablish space dominance.
All right. I have no problem with that.
Right.
Don't take my damn tax dollars. If you make it private,
Preach.
cool.
Preach.
Go right ahead.
Preach. Elon Musk, nutball maybe.
All right, you got
on some
these
things,
damn
but God bless him for SpaceX.
Multi-billionaires. Let the guy that owns Amazon take his bald ass to the moon as much as he wants to, and any of you jabronis want to jump on there with him, fine. But I don't think our tax dollars should be allocated towards something that there's no tangible evidence that there's ever been a benefit other than knowledge.
Oh my God! Really?
No.
Knowledge is the key to everything. Oh Jesus!
All right, the fact if I spend $10 billion to walk over that hill and to find out what's on the other side of that hill and then never go back to that hill, was that money worth the knowledge that I have of what's on the other side of that hill? Because that's pretty much what we're talking about.
If the people around you were scared to death of what's on the other side of that hill.
Nobody was scared of the fucking moon.
Really?
Nobody was scared of the moon.
They thought it was made of fucking cheese.
I'm not scared of cheese. Cheese is delicious. You tell me one person don't like cheese, they're a fucking communist.
James wants
They
to
don't
eat
believe
the
in Jesus.
moon. James wants to eat the moon.
I'm fine with that. When Jackie Gleason, his little face was in the moon during the honeymooners, I was fine with that. There's nothing scary about a Jackie Gleason moon.
Okay. Well, I have no interest whatsoever
In a Jackie
seeing
Gleason moon?
Jackie Gleason's moon. Not even a little bit.
It's a family
Maybe
show.
that's
why you
your
don't
thing.
like it.
Oh, that's it.
If they put a track around the moon,
A racetrack?
a racetrack.
I'm on.
Yeah.
I'm on.
But I mean, I know we're
Oh,
deviating
we
from
just-
the topic of aliens, but I think the whole
We've
thing.
been to the moon and back.
Huh?
We've been to the moon and back. But that's how far we've deviated here. No, see what I did there?
He thinks he's the talent.
I am the
And it's
fucking
just
talent.
cute when he
I am the
says it.
fucking talent.
But I really don't. Honestly, the reason I have not heard about this
Because you don't give a
is
shit.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe that aliens exist. And if they did, they want to come see us have at it. I mean, I've always wondered that if an alien was just watching our day-to-day comings and goings as humans, let's just say they go to a park, or they fly over a park, and they look at this little 3-pound dachshund.
She keeps
that
getting lighter.
This big, hairy libertarian. The dachshund is pulling the libertarian behind it, and the libertarian is holding a bag full of its poop.
No.
So
no.
now who's the master and who is the supreme being? It's the dachshund.
Of course.
Because those supreme beings
How
will
is
pick
that
up
a
the
question?
defecation. That's what aliens have bound to be seen.
Yeah.
Is they're like, I don't want anything to do with that. Now, I did read one article today, and I thought this was absolutely absurd.
And we need to get to another absurd thing that
Is
I'll take that lead. So
Well,
please
you
continue.
go ahead.
No.
No, they said, well, what about aliens today? You know, where did they all go? If we spotted them all in the 60s, 70s, and
All of
early
them.
80s.
Right.
Well, we had so many spottings, seemed like every day somebody was coming up with a new.
That's what we need to do. We need to make up our own alien spottings.
We could do that.
We
Hey,
could.
Alex, have you seen any? That must be where he is.
That's exactly where he is.
He's out doing show prep and research for the new alien show that we're going to do.
That's exactly what he's doing.
But they said
Thank
that
you,
the
Alex.
new aliens are artificial intelligence. That's how they're going to be.
No, it's bullshit.
That's what I said. All right, at least we agree on this.
Yeah.
Artificial intelligence is what we create,
Yeah.
right, and what evolves through our creations.
That's the very definition of artificial.
Right. So I saw
Now-
that, and when I saw that article, I'm like, I'm done reading.
Now,
I have read enough about this. I got angry and I walked away.
I
think I may have went and fake pooped at the office.
I will say this. Oh God. Okay, so I will say this. Science fiction has always drove our next science evolution, right?
Gene Roddenberry,
I'll take it a step further back. Theodore Sturgeon.
of course.
Sturgeon wrote about the golden helix.
Sturgill Simpson.
And no. And
He's a
within
fine fish.
years, we discovered DNA. Now, is there a connection there? Some people would tell you that there is, but whatever the case, science fiction makes scientists think, and it might send them down the wrong, a new path. Not maybe sometimes it's a wrong path, but a new path.
Well, but scientists go down wrong paths all the time to find the right one.
And that's the
So there's
search for knowledge. right?
And I had no issue with that because it
Well,
depends
apparently you hate knowledge because that's what you just said.
No, it depends on what.
Why is it so fucking expensive to find something as simple as fucking knowledge? What? I think that's what you said.
That is fake news. That is fake news. You've taken me out of context.
Of course that's what I
Roll
did.
the tape back. You didn't hear my semicolon.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. All right, I got you.
But now, if you're running an experiment to find tangible evidence to go one way or another, you're going to go down some rabbit holes.
Right.
You're just going to do that. But I'm always somebody that looks at best value and what are you getting for your investment? What returnables, what deliverables are you getting for your investment? It's just really easy to me. If I'm going to go to the grocery store and I've got $100, do I want to come away with a buggy full of groceries or 3 items?
Right.
Because those 3 items may be fantastic, but are they going to feed my family?
Right.
That's when it comes down to tangible, cause and effect for me. And that's the issue that I have with the amount of money that's been distributed for the space program and what tangible, useful, day-to-day, practical things that we've gotten from it. Absolutely, now we know certain things that we never knew before. I get that. But that knowledge, how has it assisted us in our day-to-day life, which I think is minimal at best.
Well, I think these portable computers that we're holding in our hands, these cell phones and whatnot, absolutely benefited from some of that knowledge
Sure.
anyway.
I'm not doubting that. But
But-
benefiting from some for that investment, that's a stretch.
Yeah, I take your general point.
Yeah. I overstate things for the sake of entertainment. But the fact of the matter is,
I hate knowledge.
when you invest that much to get that little yield, that's not practical. It's just not, and that's how the federal government is set up, sadly.
That's how we've worked forever.
But it doesn't mean it's right.
No, it's not.
And
That's why we have to storm Area 51, James.
well, you go right
We got to
ahead
show them a
because
lesson.
I just procured a big net. And we're taking you and 1.4 million of your closest friends out. We're going out. We may just dump you over the water somewhere.
I don't
Because
think
your alien friends can rescue your sorry asses.
I don't think your big ass net is our biggest concern. I really don't.
I'm just like
I
Lloyd
think
and
it's
his
the
big ass
Apaches
wall.
and the
I just want a big ass net
A-10s.
for those dumbasses marching into Vegas. Number one, if you want to march in northern Vegas or northern Nevada, you're a dumbass.
No. We have runners. We've got rock throwers.
It's cute that you have runners. Now you're just storming a castle.
No.
That's what you're doing. You're storming a castle.
We have Karens. We have an entire brigade of Karens.
I went out with a Karen and a Kathy.
Yeah, together
You
at the
don't-
same time.
Well, yeah.
Were they twins?
You don't want nothing to do with them 2 girls. Oh, that is bad news waiting to happen. That's a bad story I can't live to tell.
The only non-crazy Karen I've ever met is family of the bride. And
You better say that.
I know.
In case they listen.
Damn right.
Yeah, that was just a caveat to save your ass.
Shameless.
Whole damn herd of Karens.
Oh,
And most Karens overall are big women.
well, I don't know about all that.
Just saying.
Okay.
I've tested it.
God, what are you weighing them?
They keep you warm at night.
Do they float?
They provide you
Do
shelter
they
in
have
the
a big
storm.
nose?
Hang on to them, then you won't fly away. Sturdy woman. Go ahead.
God,
Whatever you're
I'm
saying.
not even sure where we are now.
You were telling the story. I was just mainly giving some
Interrupting me.
levity.
So yeah,
Your whole herd of Karens is where we started.
no, that's not where we started. We got off on the tangent in the 80s.
With your herd of Karens.
No. With your ET reference, and then we started talking about the movies and shit.
And I think you got something you want to talk about that. And I gave him the mic. I throw it to him.
I'm trying to tie it together because he's walking away from this thing.
That's not a pause
So,
effect.
okay, all right. So that was the 80s, right? You had this kid movie. You had Close Encounters of the Third Kind. You had the Alien
Spaceballs.
franchise. You had Mel Brooks, of course.
Which was a parody of Star Wars, obviously.
Right. And all of those movies were kind of elevated or brought to the fore, I
Terminator.
believe. Terminator, that's another great alien flick. And that entire franchise. I mean,
Yep. It may still be going on. We don't know.
right. And why are they making these movies? Well, it's because the average American is interested in the sci-fi shit.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we are.
Your people are. My people aren't.
My people outweigh your people.
Those 1.5 million in Nevada waiting for you, yeah, they do. You're right.
They can't stop us all, James. So the movies came from somewhere. There's an interest out there somewhere.
Sure.
So that kind of elevated this conversation a little bit.
Is that about the time I had the tangent? The first tangent?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And so somewhere, I want to say it started in 77. The United States Air Force started Operation Blue Book. And that was a result.
Is that the Kelly Blue Book?
No. We're not talking about used cars. We're talking about used aliens.
All right.
So, or used victims of aliens, whatever the case. The Air Force started this project because of the flurry of activity in those early years, right? The 60s and 70s, and everybody with a camcorder was showing their fishing rod with a pie pan and saying, "It's an alien! Oh my God." So the U.S. Air Force started saying, "We're going to investigate some of these claims." So there were just a gazillion of these things, cases, whatever, filed in the Operation Blue Book system. Sadly, it was all classified.
Of course it is.
Yeah. So U.S. Air Force says, "Okay, we're done." No, you can't see it. And they close the damn file. And then James, I think, had something to say about Majestic 12.
I haven't said it yet. I said it off air.
So go with Majestic 12.
Go with James. The Majestic 12 is purportedly an organization that appears in UFO conspiracy theories. The organization is claimed to be the code name for an alleged secret committee of scientists, military leaders, and government officials formed in 1947 by an executive order by the U.S. President Harry S. Truman.
And when was Roswell?
About that time, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To facilitate recovery and investigation of an alien spacecraft. The concept originated in the series of supposedly leaked secret government documents first circulated by UFOologist. That's not a real thing, surely.
It is a thing.
Oh, they just made that shit up. In 1984, upon examination,
Who was that?
the Federal Bureau of Investigations, FBI, declared the documents to be completely bogus. Imagine that.
No.
And many UFOologists,
Ufologists.
what? It's cute that you actually know the pronunciation of that word. Consider them to be an elaborate
That's called
hoax.
English.
Majestic 12 remains popular among some UFO conspiracy theorists, and the concept has appeared in popular culture, including television, film, and literature. Majestic 12.
So
I like the Magnificent 12 better.
So
That had me some Telly Savalas. Wasn't Telly Savalas in that?
Yeah,
No.
it
Was he? Charles Bronson?
it was a whole gang.
Yeah. There was 12 of them.
Oddly.
And then the new movie's really good, too, with Denzel Washington. Chris Pratt.
No, I had no idea that was around.
Oh.
There was a new Mag 12?
Uh-huh. No, it was that the Western. That was the Western, wasn't it? Magnificent 12. Yeah, that was the Western.
Okay.
The Dirty Dozen was the military one. But the Magnificent Seven, shit, I've got too many people.
Oh, dear Lord.
Well, there were 5
Math.
extras. Math. So go ahead. The Majestic 12. I'm still upset about it earlier.
it's all worked up.
My eyes twitching.
So when was the report leaked?
47?
No, that's when the program started.
84.
84. So that puts us right smack dab back in the mid 80s. Do you know who leaked it or who first reported it?
It's not in my article.
Of course it isn't, because it's a government conspiracy and they don't want you to know that. See how?
But I looked on Google.
And Google.
That's as far as I want to delve down into government
Google
conspiracies.
would never ever make any of this shit up.
Trust me, I'm already flagged for several things with the federal government. We don't need to be flagged for something that's not fun or porn related.
I know for a fact I'm on 3 lists.
I've seen some of the shit that you're into, and I don't want to see any more. Damned it, my eyes.
Oh my God. So Project Blue Book, the closure of Project Blue Book led to the release of the Majestic 12 program. And
so is this equivalent to the Illuminati?
That depends on what side of the fence you're on.
It sounds very similar to the theories on Illuminati, the secret society that runs the world.
No, that's the Vanderberg.
Well, but they're part of the Illuminati.
Oh, of course they are.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. What's the name I was looking for there?
Illuminati.
No, Berg something.
Birdhouse.
Bilderbergs. That's some guys.
Build a birdhouse.
Those people.
There's a place in the mall you can do that. It's like next to the Build-A-Bear.
Well, it's Vacation Bible School time. So you can make it at any church locally. So
Kenny Loggins loves me, this I know for the...
Oh, God, we're all going to hell. So 84 Majestic is released, and that spurred up a bunch of this bullshit. 10 years later, who steps forward? Why, one Mr. Bob Lazar, his very own self.
I was almost going to answer that, except I have no fucking idea who that is.
He doesn't either.
Okay. Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar claimed to work at Area 51. Not necessarily Area 51. One of them dark secret tunnels off to the north, south, east, or west. Well, not south, because that would put him at a casino. But somewhere in the vicinity of Groom Lake. And
is it Grim Lake?
Groom,
G-R-I-M?
Groom.
G-R-O-O-M?
Correct.
Okay.
Groom Lake? Yes. So
he may just be making stuff.
Might be. But Bob, good buddy Bob, started echoing a lot of the statements made from Majestic 12, saying that he was hired on to work on alien spacecraft, and starts releasing secrets about these alien spacecraft.
All right, I don't know about this guy. Was it apparent that he did have a history with the military? That he that's
because
back then you obviously couldn't do the research you can now.
Right. That's the beauty of his situation. If you claim that you work there, number one, you've already violated one of your non-disclosure agreements. But there's no way to find out because it's all top secret and special compartmental.
See, that's just so, it goes right back to my original rant.
Yeah, well,
I mean, because they've set up a place that only perpetuates more speculation.
And it's not just that place. There are plenty of them around. But
that one's associated with aliens. And that's why it has more focus than just a random military operation in Mississippi.
Because there's so many of those.
Yeah.
That we know of.
I don't know.
Right.
They're a secret.
I mean,
and if the government's good at anything, it's keeping secrets.
And if you're an alien, where are you going to hide?
Ghostbuster. No, it's different.
You're going to hide somewhere along that Yazoo area because it's in the middle of a fucking swamp.
Yeah. Or in a farmer's field.
Which there are plenty of out there in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Wasn't that where? What was that? That god awful movie with Joaquin Phoenix and the Jew hating guy.
The Jew hating guy.
What's his name?
Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that guy.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
I can't remember either. Signs. I think that was it.
Probably haven't.
It was
seen
an M. Night Shyamalan thing.
Oh.
He was a priest. Yeah.
Boy, this just brought the show to a screeching fucking halt.
did, didn't it? So-
Thank God I'm letting Root take the header.
But it's actually kind of apropos because
Apropos.
yeah, big word. That means appropriate.
I know exactly what the fuck it means.
Well, sometimes we have to explain things from
Who's
this side of
we?
the table.
Who's we? You're sitting over there with a fucking Gatorade bottle.
Well-
That's we.
Well, normally Alex is over here.
Elmer and I on this side of the table.
Yeah. We're going to take science knowledge that James hates
I don't hate science.
from Elmore.
I don't hate science. But continue with your path, and I'll go on a rant in a minute because I'm firing up one.
No, he ain't firing up shit.
No, I'm firing up a rant. Come
Oh,
on.
okay.
You and your damn druggies need to get over yourself. Shit. It's a family podcast.
So poor
Fucker.
Poor Bob announced himself on all kinds of different ways, but I stumbled upon him on a bulletin board system that dates back to the early 90s, mid 90s, and a bunch of us were talking about this guy, and somebody mentioned, homie should be able to tell us about his at least who he worked for. If he's a civilian contractor, then all we really need is the name of the company he's working for to validate this. If he was United States Air Force, give us a rank. Give us who he's assigned to.
A home address.
No, probably bad idea.
Well, I'm just saying, where did you receive mail? Show us one time you got a piece of mail.
Show us what class you went to.
Right.
For tech school. Right? Show us something to validate this claim.
Anything.
Anything. Dude hadn't been able to do anything except say, that's secret. Well, of course it's fucking secret, you dumbass. You're working at Groom Lake.
Or was he?
Right.
He may have fished at Grim Lake or Groom Lake.
Well, then he caught a lot of salt. But, yeah, I just saw something in the news, well, what I call news, where Mr. Lazar is
On the
coming
dark
forward
web.
again.
On the dark web.
Oddly enough.
Your fucking nose.
Oddly
Am I
enough.
right?
You're right.
He just had a shitty grin on his face.
You're right. Where this fucker's coming forward again and trying to, once again,
Because of the Area 51.
it probably related to that.
Yeah, because his 15 minutes
Bob,
of fame may show back up.
Bob, just find something else.
All right.
Find something else.
It is clear to me that this guy, Bob, what's his last name?
Lazar.
Wackadoodle.
Wackadoodle,
It
yes.
doesn't matter what his name is. It just seems to me that Bob is just like everyone else that we've discussed in this whole fucking podcast. Is there a bunch of wackadoodles that are trying their best to find their 15 minutes of fame, whether it's marching on a damn military base in Nevada, whether it's taking pictures in their damn backyard of a pie tin with a fishing pole.
Oh, we got to do this.
I
man.
mean, we should do that.
we got to do this.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just
Maybe tonight.
It's the same as everything that we've talked about. Everybody that we've talked about in relationship to somebody trying to give credibility to this dynamic, they're all just, none of them have any legitimacy at all. When Stephen Hawking doesn't speak to the existence of aliens, really? I mean, he pretty well is like one of the smartest dudes when it comes to smartness.
Oh, really?
Right.
So smartness is a thing.
It is.
It is?
It's your quest for knowledge.
That you hate!
But I mean, that's when you don't have the most accomplished physicists in our time speaking to the existence of a.
Well, but I mean that's almost a faith thing.
No. Are you believing the guy in the field in North Dakota? Or are you going to believe Stephen Hawking? I mean, really.
But if unless it happens to you, you don't know.
Oh.
And where I'm going with that is
You're going back to the probing, aren't you?
No, I'm going back to Project Blue Book. There were several cases, because all that's been released. There were several cases in there where the Air Force could not explain it.
Or wouldn't.
Granted. But those folks have come forward, and they're telling the same story that they told 30, 40 years ago.
I'm going right back to what you talked about with Roswell. They kept it secret because they didn't want to expose a military-grade metal compound that the Russians
That's-
could have got. If they're going to keep quiet about metal, do you think they're going to actually own up anything else?
Well,
If they
that's true.
If they
That's
were
a valid
doing a
statement.
military exercise in North Nevada, and one of these planes that they're trying out, or these flying devices, whatever it is, kill somebody, do you think they're going to really tell you that they did it?
Or teleports them up into the aircraft
Whatever.
with witnesses.
Maybe they are actually trying that kind of shit.
I
They'd
wouldn't
be-
blame them.
Honestly, they'd be stupid if they weren't, if they had that kind of technology.
Right.
Because, I mean, that's now, if you want to talk about something life-changing, dump some fucking money into that. Stay my ass off the moon. Dump some money into teleportation. Because if I can be at work in a second, that makes James happy. If I didn't have to drive down I-64 this evening with the fucking rain, I could have teleported from Georgetown. I would have been happy. That is real life value.
Wow.
I'm going away to college. I'm teleporting my kid over there. That's real life value.
Is it?
Moon cheese, I don't need to know anything about.
Moon cheese may be delicious.
You know
You
what?
don't know.
I would eat it, but right now mozzarella's fine with me. I'm going to say it. I don't like all this.
No, you don't.
And I had no opinion about it until 11 o'clock today.
And when he started looking into it, now he's lost his damn mind.
I can go from 0 to fuck in like 3 seconds.
I think we saw that in that very first episode
Well, we're gonna,
that we did.
All right, so folks, stay tuned. Root and I talked about this evening. We're going to do a bloopers episode that has a bunch of the outtakes of things that we may have aired and we may not have aired.
For reasons.
Because we've actually had 3 or 4 shows that we just junked for whatever reason. I either had the hiccups, we had some poor mic etiquette, there was a feedback or something like that. But there's some gold in those episodes.
Oh, my God.
And speaking of gold, let's talk about Mike.
Yeah.
And-
I was going to lead into that with Alien here, but you, as soon as I say Alien, you lose your damn
Well,
mind.
I'm
so-
sorry. It seems to be a hot button topic with me all of a sudden.
All of a sudden.
Didn't know about it till 11 o'clock today. I'm like, I may lose my shit on this one. But what I don't lose my shit on is the haircut I get from Mike at the Plaza Barbershop here in Frankfort, Kentucky, Save a Lot parking lot.
Yes.
I went and saw Mike this past week, and he cut my hair, did a fantastic job on it. And
Did
then
he ask
looked
where
at-
Root was? Because Root hadn't been there in a spell.
He tries not to speak to you.
I get that.
But he looked at me and goes, I would cut your beard, but it's just too majestic.
Oh, what the fuck he did.
Just saying.
I will ask him.
He looked at it, he went, I'm out.
No, he didn't.
Well, I don't think he wanted to cut it.
I don't think he wanted to touch it.
We were busy that morning. But regardless of whether you have a haircut that you need, a beard that you need trimmed, go see Mike at the Plaza Barbershop.
Amen.
Here in Frankfort, Kentucky, Save a Lot parking lot. Absolutely fantastic.
I don't think Mike's ever been abducted, though.
He's
we
got
should ask
stories.
him.
He lived in Florida.
Oh, well, Florida man. You know.
And honestly, sometimes Mike starts talking, I hope he turns the clippers up a little bit louder. 'Cause those Florida stories are a little, they give me a little heebie-jeebies.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, well.
especially when I have to sit really still.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
got
At
the
least you
clippers
know-
next to your head.
Yeah, at least you're not getting a straight razor
Because
cut.
you probably get a scissor cut.
I do.
Oh, that's what most ladies get.
Oh, okay.
Until you feel the cool metal of a clipper against your head, I tell you what. I felt, as soon as they cut my mullet off.
What was that, last week?
1989. They cut my mullet off with those cool clippers.
Mm-hmm.
I've had my hair clipper cut ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody brings out some scissors. That's just for the top. That's just for the pompadour. That's the only thing that
Is that what we're calling that?
it's a pompadour. What do you call yours, Bangy?
I call mine long at the moment. Mike, I'm coming, brother. I'm coming. I was trying to get down there Thursday last week, but shit went sideways. So
But get your hair cut at Mike at the Plaza Barbershop.
yeah,
Save a lot
absolutely,
parking lot.
absolutely. And don't ask him about aliens. I think he might be as irritable
Don't
as
ask him.
James.
He will speak to anything.
He will.
He's a
He will.
conversationalist.
He will.
He may think about you being crazy when you leave, but he will speak to it while you're there. So I think there was a show, we were talking about the media when it came to popular television, movies. We spoke a little bit to Star Trek. We
Right.
spoke a little bit to Star Wars. But there was one show that you evidently are a fan of that you wanted
Oh.
to speak to.
I want to believe.
What's the show?
It's called the X Files.
David Duchovny.
Yeah.
And that really oddly hot redhead.
Yeah. Whatever her name is, I can't remember.
I can't remember either.
Her
I never watched the show.
character name is Scully.
Yeah.
The Duchovny played Fox Mulder, and she was a skeptic, Not quite as fiery as James, but close.
Let me hang out with her a little while. We'll get fired up together. You give me a redhead, I can push in buttons.
It don't take much for a redhead.
Oh, no,
I grew
no.
up with one. Yeah. They get fiery all
I'm
of a
having a
sudden.
whole different thought about redheads than you are right now. Go ahead.
I should hope so.
Yeah.
But it launched, I think, in '93, and it didn't deal specifically with aliens. It dealt with all kinds of just weird shit. The two main characters are FBI agents. I suspect most of our audience are familiar with the X-Files. If not, you can find them, I guess, on Netflix, maybe Hulu, whatever. But
I'm not sure which streaming service it's on. It may be one of those ones that's still hard to find because they haven't let anybody buy it yet.
no, I'm sure they've
Is it on there?
yeah, I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. Buy the first season, whatever. But one of the recurring themes in this show was the cigarette smoking man, and nobody ever knew this guy's name. I think in the later seasons we came to know his name. I can't remember offhand, but he symbolized what all of this secrecy is about, right? He was always portrayed to know all the answers, and Mulder and Scully were always banging heads with him.
Or Fox.
Well, Fox Mulder.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the two main characters are always banging heads with the cigarette smoking man and this vague
Silhouette.
organization that he represented.
Illuminati.
Well, actually, it's Men in Black.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
You know, the two shows have nothing at all in common, but I can't help but think that the Men in Black came from
A
that.
secret federal organization put forth to suppress and keep away alien
Whatever
aliens
the
living
case.
among us.
Right,
I think.
whatever the case. But man, did that explode into a whole new subculture of freaks and
I know it was a huge
wannabe believers.
It had a huge following, and as somebody, all right, I would be the equivalent of you today because you've never seen Game of Thrones. And
Yeah.
I think back then the X-Files was a very rabid following, cult-like almost.
Oh yeah.
The difference was I guess it was very similar. It was a weekly show
Mm-hmm.
I think it was on Fox.
Yes.
I think it was one of Fox's first big shows.
Mm-hmm.
So my best friend Lou, and we've told several stories about Lou in our podcast. Lou passed away about 12 years ago. God rest his soul. He's one of the best men I've ever known. Lou was out there. All right, he was an LSD kid from the 60s. So he still had flashbacks, and I mean, you never knew what was going to come out of Lou's mouth. But he was always huge into science fiction. In fact, when AOL started up way back in the day, and they had the individual message boards.
You've got mail.
Yeah, you had the individual message boards that were specific, almost like to Reddit now, where you have
Right.
and they would have like these quiz shows or quiz games, and he always would win the Star Trek quiz.
Oh.
I mean, he was a Trekkie from way back.
Nice.
He had nothing to do with Star Wars, but he loved Star Trek. And he was like a savant when it came to it. And they would claim that he was cheating and all that. And he goes, I have a 96 baud modem. I am not looking jack shit up.
Right.
But anyway, so he had tried and tried and tried. And we were always big UK fans. Talked about sports, talked about TV, all that. He tried to get me to watch X-Files. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to finally cave in, watch the fucking X-Files. So I was down in my shed. I had a little TV up in my shed in the back of the house, or back of the yard. And so I tuned on to it, and I watched the whole show. And he goes, now you call me when it's over. We'll talk about it. That's, we always used to do at the UK
That's what
basketball
we
game.
do.
We're going to talk about it.
Right.
Because there was no texting or anything back then. You just called and talked to people. So I called him up. He goes, what'd you think? And he did not know what episode I had watched. I don't know whether it was on repeat yet or not, but he wasn't watching it at the same time. And I said, well, Lou, I didn't like it. He goes, what? What do you mean you didn't like it? I mean, he just wanted me to love it. And I'm like, well, the bad guy on the show was Wayne Newton.
Oh, I know the episode.
And he
actually.
goes, oh, you saw the Newton episode?
Yeah, that
I'm
was
like-
a bad choice.
I'm like, I'm out.
Oh,
The fact that I cannot look at Wayne Newton and think, oh my God, look, it's Wayne Newton. I'm scared. I can't. I cannot. Dunk a shade. Darling Donkashay. I can't be scared of Donkashay. I can't. And that's the only time I ever watched the X-Files.
dude.
Because I'll be honest, I just don't like science fiction. Never have. I watched Star Trek for a bit, the original show. Then I really liked Next Generation. I thought was good. I watched a little Deep Space Nine.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But I mean, I love the shapeshifter on Deep Space Nine. I like the Ferengi. I thought they had some really good characters on there. It was not as good as its predecessors,
Right.
but it still had some value. But I didn't really watch it for the science fiction aspect.
You watched
of
it for Deanna Troy.
No, for the drama. I mean, because they did a really good job with building up those characters. Character development was always good.
And showing Deanna's tits.
Well, I like that. There was no nudity, and I've looked on the internet, But even on the first Star Trek, I mean, the way they developed Spock and Scotty and Uhura, and they started doing stuff that they're still doing on television shows now.
Right.
Is they set the scene, and then they started going back and showing you what ended up making these people who they were then. Then you had the Star Trek movies, and some of those were good. I mean, and I loved how James T. Kirk, William Shatner, just overacted every fucking scene he was in.
Have you seen the newer ones?
With Chris Pine?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he does a good job.
I think Pine, I catch a lot of hell from other Trekkies for it, but I think Pine nails
he nails the Shatner.
Kirk.
He nails the Shatner.
Yeah.
And anybody that has seen or know anything about William Shatner, honestly, and this is a huge deviation, but there was a television show back in the 80s called Boston Legal.
Oh, wow.
And I absolutely love William Shatner and James Spader in that, because that was some of the best buddy moments between two totally opposites on the end of the spectrum. And I love James Spader anyway. I just think he's a genius. And he's not an actor. Trust me, folks, when he plays these weirdos, that's him.
That's him.
That is him. He's a weird fucker. I don't know it, but I know it.
So he's like Root.
Well, much more talented.
Oh, of course.
I don't want to watch you in a BDSM movie. I'm going to tell you that right now.
No.
The Secretary, James Spader was in that.
You see, I never saw that.
Maggie Gyllenhaal. Oh,
Who?
There was no nudity. But
Didn't
it was
have
hot.
to be.
It's just hot. They did a great job. Anyway, any other thing about aliens? All right, let me ask you, Root, on the record, do you believe aliens exist? Yes or no?
I cannot not believe that there's other intelligent life out there.
Fucking government agent right there. That's what you sound like. I'm neither going to deny
No.
the existence of alien life forms.
Okay, let me clarify my comment. If I firmly believe that there is other intelligent life out there. Now, is it to our level of intelligence, below, whatever?
I hope it is.
I don't know that. I don't know that.
All right, the fact that we have 1.5 billion, a million of your friends
close personal
God,
friends.
I hope that they're smarter than them. Because if not, there's no fucking way they can make it to our planet.
The Karen Brigade firmly believes that they are smarter than all of us.
You don't need to make fun of them big women. There's no reason to make fun of them big women. They ain't done a damn thing to you. And you know they're not going to march very far. They get winded.
That's true. That's why we have the Naradu runners.
See, that's one of the things that I think.
And the rock throwers. And the Kyles with the Monster Energy drinks. Man, you load them fuckers up with the Monster. They're going to be at the base before anybody knows what's going on.
You and your skateboarding friends just stay the fuck home. With your Jiffy beards and your Sharpie beards.
Right.
And you rolling up there listening to your damn Dan Fogelberg.
Dan Fogelberg. What?
That's right. It's what you kids listen to nowadays.
Is that what?
That's what they listen to now.
Yeah.
But
we're all listening to Run for the Roses.
That's right. Well, of course.
Of course we
it's
are.
It's your anthem as you're marching up to Area 51.
And getting slayed by the A-10s coming after us.
Again, they could push one button, fucker's gone. They probably have like a 360 bomb that just goes off.
Oh, yeah. Fuel air bombs,
boom. And then they're going, all right, and let's play some Tetris.
Yeah, let's do this.
Just got rid of those morons. So one of the things I noticed when they're talking about, intelligent life forms or life forms, it can be an organism.
Good. Well,
is what you hear a lot about that. But I think your word was key, intelligent life forms.
Right.
And I think the definition of that is even more key. What does that mean to you? What does it mean to us? Because I think when we think about aliens, we're picturing almost like what we do with Jesus. Is every time they talk about Jesus, they have to put Jesus in a human form that looks
Right.
like Kenny Loggins with his neatly trimmed beard and his brown hair and his beautiful
White skin.
White skin. Because in our mind, anybody that we don't know what they look like has to look like us.
Correct.
Right? So I wonder if that, but also then from the 50s and 60s, we saw this big-headed, small-bodied, very almost anemic-looking character. I love how we have to always try to depict what they look like.
Oh, of course.
You know, but I think I would agree in the sense that what we have here on this earth is a very, very, very minuscule proportion as to what exists in the universe. I get that. And I will attest to that. What's on those other planets, who knows?
Right.
I don't think that we can be arrogant enough to think that we're the only dog in the show.
Right.
You know, I don't think we can be that arrogant, but I don't think that the people or the individuals or the humans or the entities there have any desire or maybe even any more ability than we do to get to us.
Right. I don't know. You know, we have some ideas to what the planetary makeups are.
Just our solar system,
within our solar system. So,
although Pluto don't count anymore, I don't think.
Oh, Pluto always counts. Pluto's a fucking planet.
You're old school.
I am. Therefore, I'm right.
Yeah.
You know, respect your elders. Not so much a fucker sitting across from me, but you people listening. Respect your elders. So,
I thought he said Spectre. I didn't know what he was talking about. He didn't even use the R-E. It was just Spectre. Respect your elders.
Respect your elders.
Damn, Eastern Kentucky came right out in here. Fucker can't fish, but he can't talk either.
Oh, I can fish. Mm-hmm. I can fish. I can catch a hell of a lot of fish on Sea of Thieves. You saw that.
I can fish with a keyboard. Not wearing pants.
I was wearing pants. They were short pants. Maybe it was underwear. But, you know, whatever.
We don't need to go any further than this. Please continue with whatever you were saying. He forgot.
No. With just the planetary makeups that we know of in our little piddly little solar system, what we don't understand is what to do with the gas on Jupiter or those crazy rocks that
Uranus
that those probes found on Mars.
I had some rocks in my anus.
Whatever. Spirit and Discovery, I think they were called. Good God Almighty! I'm just trying to talk over this. So you know, if there are beings on these other planets, maybe they know what to do with the resources at their disposal, and you know, maybe they are building shit and coming to visit. I don't know this. What I know for a fact is some of the objects that were photographed or filmed back in the day that Operation Blue Book actually looked at, they couldn't figure it out. And that's United States Air Force at the time.
They chose not to tell you they could. But again, we discussed that. They could very easily have known exactly what that was, but they're not telling us.
And
so they would rather go, we don't know. We would rather you believe in some mythical creature in the sky than to actually know what the shit is we're doing to our own people.
I can't argue the secrecy aspect of it.
Right.
What I can tell you is all the information in those files was released from a FOIA request. So if you want to believe it, then they don't know what they're talking about, or that they don't know what that shit was. But obviously, that's a true fact. The U.S. Air Force may have said, we're just going to say we don't know because we know exactly and it's a grievous threat or it's not a threat at all or whatever.
And I think that's probably the crux of what we're talking about is
whether or not you trust the federal government. Well, let me tell you about that.
The federal government has set up this.
I can tell you about that.
They've actually set this up.
No, really, I can tell you about that.
It's the same bait and switch that they always do. Is let's defer and get the monkeys to go chase a banana
at Area 51,
so they don't know what it is we're doing over here that we really don't want them to know about.
Like let's keep killing the gold standard and creating a fiat currency.
Let's keep pushing up Area 51, this deserted fucking military base out in northern Nevada.
Pretty sure it's not deserted.
We don't know.
I'm pretty sure.
But I'm saying let's make this the story, while they don't notice all this other shit that's going on.
While they create or
they
further
do all
enhance
the
Federal Reserve and
they do all the other stuff. I mean, they've done that since the beginning of our government. Look over here. Let's do something here. I mean, Donald Trump is a master of it now.
Yeah,
Let's create a storm so nobody sees the lightning.
but the beginning of our government didn't start in 67.
Well, I understand. We're not going to go into governmental history with Root tonight. I'm just saying
Because you can't
that
fucking
has
keep
been
up.
a simple, useful tactic that they've always gotten us on. Is because we're sitting here doing a fucking podcast in the basement about a damn Area 51 and about aliens that we both probably would agree don't exist.
And
we've never had anybody picked up and probed.
I
Unless it was
don't
in
know
somebody's fucking pickup truck in Nevada.
After a whole bunch of Elmer T. Lee.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not doubting somebody's been probed. I'm not doubting that at all.
It was just Jim, Bob, and Elroy
And I'm
after
not
home.
doubting that a couple people enjoyed it. And
Like
then at the
James.
end, they're going, surely I didn't go home with them. Must have been the
That's
daily.
must have been. Yeah, there's fact there.